Have you tried to stop gambling just to find yourself placing yet another bet? You tell yourself you'll stop when you hit it big, but those big wins just add more fuel to the fire, and the bets just get bigger. Now you're chasing your losses, desperately trying to get back what you've lost, telling yourself you can hit it big again and then you'll stop. But the cycle just keeps repeating itself. As an addiction counselor specializing in gambling addiction, I've helped hundreds of individuals like yourself stop gambling, reconnect with loved ones, and start finding joy in everyday life again. Through the years, I've learned that relying on willpower alone is just not enough to overcome the powerful grip of gambling addiction. In this video, I'll share 4 illusions keeping you from stopping. Then I'll share 6 practical tips to stop gambling without relying on willpower. Lastly, I'll share a powerful technique that will help you get to some of the root causes. So let's get into it. The first illusion keeping you from stopping is the illusion of thrill. You see the flashing lights, hear the sounds, feel the suspense, like when the roulette wheel spins, the moments before the cards are turned, or those edge of your seat moments during sporting events. The thrill pulls you in, offering an escape from the mundane. Glamorous ads show elegant people celebrating big wins, promising sophistication, excitement. You get drawn in deeper. Realizing you might be in trouble, reality hits hard, and each bet increasingly starts to feel like a chase, fueled by fear. Losses weigh heavy, transforming fun into desperation. Joy fades, replaced by constant pressure to keep up with bills. Sleepless nights and heavy hearts replace the excitement. Your mind is consumed by gambling. Your mood, completely determined by whether you just won or lost, is in constant flux, and arguments with loved ones just become the norm. Although it was once a source of mere excitement, gambling has become a very stressful activity. The next common illusion is the illusion of stopping while you're ahead. At first, gambling may seem like an exciting way to make quick money. The allure of hitting the jackpot, solving financial problems, it really draws you in. And those occasional wins bolster your confidence, creating a false sense of control, a false sense that this can actually be a way to make money in the long term. And although you tell yourself you'll walk away when you're ahead, it just doesn't work that way. It feels impossible, like trying to quit cocaine while you're high. It just doesn't work. Once you've placed the bet, self-control evaporates. Soon, the house edge chips away at the bankroll, turning the chasing wins into chasing losses, and the cycle just repeats itself. You find yourself trapped in this cycle, unable to stop, and whether you're winning or losing, it doesn't matter. There's no point where it feels like you want to stop. You want to chase the win to get more wins, you want to chase the loss to get it back. Gambling seems like the solution, yet it's the very source of your misery. Next is the illusion of social connection. Gambling may have started as a social activity where you enjoy the camaraderie and shared excitement, but as addiction takes hold, your gambling turns into a very solitary pursuit. Your friends who don't gamble drift away, relationships strain under the weight of time and money spent, leading to conflicts and deceit. What was once a form of connection now drives you into isolation. Guilt and financial stress build up, and pretending like everything is fine feels like wearing a mask, cutting you off from those you care about. They say the opposite of addiction is not necessarily sobriety. It's connection. And when something becomes an addiction, it drives you further and further into isolation, cutting you off from your basic need for connection, therefore making gambling even more appealing as a way to escape the pain of this disconnection. Which brings us to our final illusion, the illusion of escape. When life gets overwhelming, gambling feels like the perfect escape. The thrill of placing bets offers a brief distraction from problems and stress. You start using gambling as a coping mechanism, finding temporary relief from financial worries, relationship issues, or work stress. But this relief is fleeting. Once you step away, reality hits harder, often compounded by the new problems from gambling. What began as an escape quickly turns into a source of greater stress. Money spent on gambling increases your financial burdens, creating a cycle of debt and desperation. Relationships suffer as you devote more time and energy to gambling, and the problems just snowball. As your issues worsen, stress intensifies, and you gamble more to regain control, but each bet deepens the troubles. Gambling's temporary relief is an illusion, worsening existing problems and creating new ones. Seeking healthier ways to cope with stress becomes essential for finding genuine relief. When something becomes an addiction, you seek relief in the very thing causing the pain. It's like drinking salt water to quench your thirst. It only leaves you thirstier. As you see the reality of gambling as a very stressful activity that leaves you worse off than before, you may feel highly motivated to stop. But when something becomes an addiction, it has the tendency to play tricks with your mind. What may seem really clear right now can be easily dismissed tomorrow. That is why you'll need a few other pieces in place so that you won't need to rely on willpower when you fall back into the illusions we've previously discussed. Here are 6 practical tips you can start employing today to stop gambling. Tip number 1, self-exclusion. This involves making it harder to access gambling, reducing the reliance on willpower. By enrolling in a self-exclusion program, you can ban yourself from casinos or online betting sites. It's not perfect. There's so many sites out there that you can access, but it does add a layer of protection since it can take you longer to access gambling. To be able to re-download an app, to sign up for a new account, there's a few layers there that buys you some time. This allows you to potentially stop and play the mental movie till the end. Cravings only show you the trailer, flashing scenes filled with the illusions we previously discussed. Playing the movie till the end allows you to visualize how the gambling session will go realistically, based on your past experiences. Hour by hour, visualize what tends to happen and how the movie will end. Then ask yourself, is this movie worth playing? Tip number 2 is using content blockers. Using blockers like Gamban can prevent access to online gambling sites and are perhaps better than self-exclusion since they cover all the gambling sites. So some internet service providers also offer this type of service where they can block access to gambling websites. You can contact them to see if they can do that for you. If you primarily gamble on your phone, it might be helpful to switch to a non-smartphone for a time. This has been a game changer for some of my clients whose cravings generally went away after switching since their phone was their primary trigger. Tip number 3 is limiting access to funds. Controlling access to your money can also help curb gambling habits, and you don't have to rely on willpower to resist it. You can set up direct deposits to savings accounts and limit the amount of funds you have access to. Some people even find it helpful to relinquish control of their accounts altogether to a trusted family member for a time. Trying to stop gambling with open access to funds is like trying to stop drinking with beer in the fridge. It's too much willpower required, and just white knuckling it only lasts so long. Tip number 4, social support. Honesty and accountability are key. Share your struggles with trusted family and friends, and consider joining support groups like Gamblers Anonymous. Having a support network provides encouragement, helps keep you accountable, and reduces feelings of isolation, which are super common during addiction. And as they say, you're only as sick as your secrets. So opening up to someone has been a major turning point for many of my clients. Tip number 5, find a replacement for gambling. When you stop gambling, you'll likely get a lot of your time back. But having lost touch with previous hobbies, you'll need to fill the void left by gambling. Many clients find it helpful to join a gym, take up a new hobby, or rekindle an old hobby. These activities provide a positive outlet for your energy and time, helping you distract from the urge to gamble and improving your overall well-being. Stopping an addiction is not just about what you take out of your life, it's about what you add back into your life as well. Tip number 6, address underlying issues that contribute to your gambling with professional help. You can tackle emotional triggers such as anxiety, depression, stress, or self-esteem issues. Once these issues are dealt with, you no longer require willpower to resist gambling, because gambling was the coping mechanism for these things. And so once these things are dealt with, gambling naturally becomes less appealing. So here's an exercise you could try right now to determine some of your underlying reasons for gambling. Of course, this is not perfect. It's best done in session, face-to-face, but here are the questions I might ask and you can see what comes out. So complete the following sentences with the first thing that comes to mind, without thinking too hard about it. If you need to rewind this and pause and think about it a little bit more, feel free to do so. So here's the first one. I need to continue gambling because if I stop, then if I stop gambling, I'm afraid that if I stop gambling, I might feel. If I let go of gambling, I will need to. If I stop gambling, then. So reflect on the kinds of words and phrases that came up. Will you feel bored? Are you chasing losses? Will you have to face underlying stress, anxiety, depressed moods, low self-esteem, or lack of purpose? I do a version of this exercise with clients, and it's best done when I can hear the responses and tailor the questions based on what I'm hearing, reflecting back what I'm hearing, and we can really pull it out in a more organic way. So if you want to work with me one-on-one, I'm here to help. You don't have to do this alone. To schedule a free virtual call, reach out to me at the link in the description. Otherwise, I hope this video has been helpful, and I wish you all the best in your recovery.